Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to suddenlycomics.com. It's a Monday night. It's the price of it's Monday night. It's the price variance, and as usual, I have my Canadian colleague here, Alan, who has been dredging about in the heritage sales from last week to find us some little nuggets to talk about. So there was some great stuff on Alan's channel where Alan couldn't identify what sport was on the cover. I had to help him. And we also had an interesting discussion about the grading companies. So head over to Alan's channel if you want to hear that. But first, watch this show because we've got some good stuff coming up, I'm sure. So let me show my screen. And let's have a look at our first Oh, Challenges of the Unknown issue 1. Very nice.
Yeah, I thought this was a cool book.
It's a cool book. It's a pretty cool cover as well, actually.
Yeah. So like a lot of things going on in this cover. It's like a very interesting one.
Yeah. And
It's like this alien tiger thing and
the human pets, the Challenges of the Unknown. Is this the first appearance of the Challenges of the Unknown?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that part, but it could be. What does it say?
Okay, those faces look Kirby-like. Here we go. Indeed, Jack Kirby's
Maybe it's Jack
story
Kirby.
and art. Not only is he doing the art, he's writing the stories now, Alan.
Yeah, wow.
He's done everything on this one.
This one I thought was a really cool book. I was kind of
Is it the first appearance? It doesn't say first
it
appearance.
doesn't say, but
Did they appear
we would have to look it up.
somewhere else first?
They might have been one of those I maybe Showcase.
It may be. Yes, could be.
I think it was in Showcase.
Here is it. 58.
1958.
Yes,
So
it's
this is a pretty cool book. I was actually surprised by the price. It seemed like a bit of a low price, in my opinion. I don't know.
I'm not
For
sure because remember it is DC. They're not
I know that's the thing with DC. You never know, right?
and
Um,
the other problem with Challenges of the Unknown, unless you're a comic collector or
you don't know it.
you're aged over about 70, you've probably never heard of Challenges of the Unknown. Uh,
Yeah, that's always a problem. But this is kind of like the Fantastic Four. You
it is
know,
like a Fantastic Four.
And if this was Fantastic Four and a 7.5, you could add like maybe a couple zeros to that number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, definitely. Right. Let's
Yeah.
have a look at this. Let's see what it's done. Oh, it's well, it's
Oh, it's down or bounced up. What's that little bounce at
well,
the end?
okay. So we have another comic here, Alan, that has gone down in value between 2014 and today. So over 10 years, this has lost money.
Yeah. So what was that? Okay, so what was the high price? Let's kind
Well,
of look
the
at the
high
numbers.
price was in 2014 at 1434.
1434. Okay, so 1,400.
Yeah,
And this just sold for 1,300. So
20. It's that little peak tick up there. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean it's if you ignore the previous one, this is way up over that other sale, which was even worse.
Oh, yes. If you just look at the previous sale, which was 1260, I mean, it's $60 up.
But actually, because of the scale, it looks like way more down than it really is. It's really only down like maybe $100.
Yeah, it's
You
down.
know,
Yeah, it's down $100. Yeah.
it
But
just really hasn't.
hang on, Alan. But you wouldn't be very impressed with an investment over a period of 10 years that went down.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is not. It hasn't been a very historically great book for you. It's actually a really cool one. Though.
It
I'm
is.
surprised
But
that.
I'm not surprised because it's on nobody's radar. You know, who's going to rush in home and say, never guess what I've got? I've got a Challenges of the Unknown issue 1. Everybody will look at you and say, who the hell are the Challenges?
So yeah, I mean, there's 200 copies on the census. It's a really low census count.
Yeah.
I mean, if James Gunn decides, hey, the next Guardians of the Galaxy is Challengers of the Unknown.
Yeah, he's going to have to do some gender swapping because he can't have four white guys forming a team. That would not be doable, would it?
Not in 2024, no.
No.
Um, yeah. So, but I think it's a cool book. Yeah, I'm just surprised that it's down so much. Might be a good one
Can
to
you
pick up.
even name any of those four challenges of the unknown?
I never read Challengers of the Unknown,
Yeah.
so I've heard of it and I know the significance of it, but I never read the issues.
I might
So
I might try and catch out my mate Kyle with that one. I bet he doesn't know either. I'll be impressed if he does. Right. Okay.
that's sad. Both of us fail on that trivia question. So yeah. Oh well.
It goes to show, doesn't it? We both know quite a lot about comics, but neither of us can name any of the challenges of the unknown.
Yeah, and that kind of explains the price on that book.
Ah, now this one on the
Now
other.
this one you should know.
I not only know this, Alan, I have two copies of this, and one of them is graded.
This is a pretty cool comic, in my opinion.
We have had this one on before.
Yes, we have. So this is the first Silver Age Solomon Grundy. I
Yeah,
also think it's the first Doctor Fate and Hourman in the Silver Age too.
it's the first Silver Age Green Lantern, I think.
Let's see what we got here.
Solo Green Lantern in the Silver Age. It's the first Silver Age appearance of Solomon Grundy, and it's the origin of our.
Origin of Hourman and Doctor Fate. So really cool
And it's a love.
book.
Look at the cover. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a cool cover. Yeah, this is just a cool book.
Yeah, I do.
I like Solomon Grundy, so
Yeah, I like Solomon Grundy as well. Born on a Monday.
yeah.
Right, so
So
two, one,
9-2
three, two. Oh, again, this is one of these DC ones that I don't think.
Showcase 55. Yeah, this seems really low for me, actually.
So 1320. Yes. Oh, look at this, Alan. It's dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it was doing
Somebody's
really
got a
well.
bargain. Somebody has got an absolute bargain here. One of these sold. One of these sold 2 weeks ago. Uh,
And it sold for 2,000.
yeah, and it sold for 2,000 3 weeks ago, and this guy's got $700 less.
Well, I think that's it was just probably a fluke sale, in terms of, it looks like it was actually on a pretty good trajectory.
Yeah, because the previous two sales, so there was one sold in October, also went for two. Was that peak up there? There's the 2001. So this has been consistently going up until this big drop here. I think this guy's just been lucky. Nobody else was.
Yeah, yeah, nobody was watching it. And
No.
yeah, that does happen, right?
Yeah.
You get I always think with these auctions, it really depends on who's there, who's
Yeah.
watching, and what they're watching, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If you have only
So
got one person wants it, um, and nobody's bidding against him, you'll get it cheap.
yeah, that's a fun part of
Yeah,
auctions.
I think this guy's had a double whammy as well because our DC minor keys have been on the rise. Uh,
Mhm.
so to see this drop $700, I think it's an outlier.
Yeah, I would say so too. We'd have to see what the next sale,
Yeah.
whether it confirms that price or not. Um, so what's the census count?
778.
So a reasonable census count.
Yeah.
But yeah, major book, cool book. I'm surprised that it's down that much, but it's like it's one of those things.
Right.
Okay.
I also note that I haven't yet put my copies in on my CGC list. All right. Okay. Right. Doctor Strange number 169. So this is a nice, really nice comic. I like this one. Look at the cover on that.
So
This,
yeah,
and this was used to be Strange Tales, didn't it, Alan?
yeah. So this is when they retitle the series as Doctor Strange. It sort of acts as Doctor Strange number one in a weird way. It's not really number one because they actually come out with a Doctor Strange number one, but it's kind of the first titled Doctor Strange book.
Yeah, it didn't last that long, did it? I think it went to 178 or 179, something like that.
Yeah, and then it switched
And
over
they just
to
they switched
yeah.
it, started down.
Actually, the weird thing is there's even a weird thing where they have like uh you know the numbering continues in the same title. Actually, it's still Tales to Astonish 170 and all those. It
Yeah.
actually continues. Or Strange Tales, I think, sorry. Um and it just continues on even though it's already been renamed this thing. It's like it's so weird the way that they do the naming of this one.
So this artwork is by a guy called Dan Adkins, who I don't know much about, but I have to say he's done a fantastic first
It's a
cover.
really great cover. I think if this was the first appearance cover,
Yeah.
it would probably add an extra zero to the value of
Oh,
that
easily.
first
I mean,
appearance.
look at it's almost Hulk. It's like Hulk one a bit, isn't it? With a large
Yeah,
version and a small version.
yeah, it's really cool. It's got these kind of weird magical mystical things going on. It's
Yeah.
just it's a cool looking cover.
Yeah. Good cover. Right. How did this do? Let's have a look. So that was a 9.4 and it sold for 1,560. I think that's a pretty decent price.
I'd say it's way down.
Yeah. Okay. 9.4. It's flat.
Yeah, flat, and we just ignore the Clovid Peak actually.
If you ignore the
So
technique, that's done it doing okay.
yeah, so I know that this book during COVID was really, really hot. So um that's why you get that almost almost vertical mountain peak during COVID.
I mean, yes, but with some of these, they go back down below where they were pre-COVID. This one has settled out at a higher level.
Yeah, this one's actually much higher level than pre-COVID.
So that's two sales we've had at 1,500-ish.
Yeah. Okay, so it seems to have found its floor, and it's a pretty strong floor.
Yeah, yeah, and it's significantly higher than pre-COVID when it was selling for 900. So yeah,
And how
we're
many on the census?
watching that it isn't going to drop, but it didn't drop on this sale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many on the census for this one?
I think this is quite high. Yeah, 3,529.
Yeah.
I mean, that is such a great cover. When they did this, they'd have pushed it, wouldn't they? This would have
Oh
been,
yeah. And I think they realize. I think by this point they've realized it took them long enough, but they realized that Doctor Strange is a popular character.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. We're
so
giving him
yeah,
a title. People who've been reading Strange Tales for 10 years suddenly, you know.
yeah,
Right. Okay. Next up, we have got. Oh, here we go, Alan. I didn't see that this was up for sale, but I wouldn't have been able to
yeah.
that price. But it is what I'm after. This is Justice League of America issue one.
And it's the first appearance of Despero, something
Uh,
like that.
somebody like that. Yes, origin and first appearance of Despero. Also
Yeah.
includes a letter from Roy Thomas.
Yes. But it is like, it's like a major book. This is similar to the previous book in the fact that it's the first titled Justice League book of America.
Yeah.
So
Right. So who is this guy here with three eyes? Is that Despero?
I think that's Despero. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And he's kind of controlling them all, I think, is the issue. I think that's what's going on.
Ah, okay.
Mm-mm.
I've got this game rigged so that every time Flash makes a move, a member of the Justice League disappears from the face of Earth. Ah, that's why Green Lantern has got a flash around him because he's the one being moved at the moment.
Yeah, he might disappear.
Okay, nice cover.
Hmm.
Cover tells a story.
Yeah.
You don't get
Yeah,
that.
I like that.
Yeah, you don't get that these days in comics, do you? All right.
Yeah, and it's also a chest cover, kind of.
Yeah, it is a chest cover.
Mm. So yeah.
Okay.
So how
Uh,
did this one do?
60 for 2,000. What do you reckon, Alan?
I'd say that's sideways. I I I
You
think
are
I'm
absolutely spot on. It is,
yeah.
yeah, completely correct. Look at this one. It's almost entirely flat for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those books that doesn't really get that much love. It's really weird. I always thought it was a cool book,
It is.
but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily get that much love.
It's sort of,
It seems
it's sort of static, you know.
it
It's
seems to hover around that 23 to $2,000 price range.
yeah,
It
it's
seems,
stuck where it was 10 years ago.
yeah. So yeah,
Uh, I'm surprised at that. This is a book I'm not, whereas nobody's heard of Challenges of the Unknown, Justice League America is well known.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Actually, and the funny thing is, Brave and the Bold 28 is actually going up lately.
Okay, good.
So you would think the next kind of key for the Justice League would be this book, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it was,
It's very unloved. Uh,
yeah.
this is sort of like the Avengers for DC, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got nowhere near the values.
Value or love, yeah. And
Yeah.
if you look at the census, it's actually, I'm pretty sure it's not that high of a census, like 2000, I'm going to guess. I'm guessing. Let's see how, if I can be.
You're doing well today, Alan. Your guesses are,
Yeah,
other than not being able to spot sports,
yeah.
you're doing all right. Yeah, not
Mhm.
bad. Pretty good guess. 1690. So I
Mm.
guessed it was flat. So well done.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Next up, it is I'm not oh it's a this is an odd one, Alan. This is
Yeah.
case for the first appearance of the Silver Age Flash, is it?
Silver Age Flash,
Yeah.
yeah. So and Barry Allen, if
And
you want to just say Barry.
it's a restored version.
So there's a lot going for this book in terms of what different elements we can look at. We can look at
Yes.
restored, we can look at low grade, we can look at key first appearances. This book is the Silver Age. This book defines the Silver Age. It's the book that started the Silver Age. So
Well,
it's
Alan, you told me that the Silver Age started on the 31st of March, 1955.
okay, I know it's like one of those weird contradictions, but this book is what's considered to be DC's first Silver Age book. Um, it's just one of those books
This
where
is,
it's,
this is October 56, Alan.
I know the rules are all weird, but it is one of the ones that defines the Silver Age, and it is the one that they cite as being the first Silver Age book.
Okay. I'll,
I'm
I'll,
just
let, I'll, I'll let you off. You are a bit wobbly by a year on this, but I'm
yes, I know. I know I go by, like, personally I go by March of 1956, but
55.
55, yes, you're right. Um and that's just when the code was applied.
That's where
Um
you get that date from. You're going from the first Comics Code Authority date.
yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people do say you're right that the Silver Age starts with this,
Hmm.
which is a year later.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with you, Alan. I think I like your definition best.
Yeah, so the only thing that this kind of defines in terms of the Silver Age is it does mark a real change in direction. So with pretty much the superheroes were dead like during the early 50s,
Yeah,
like pre-code horror, romance,
yeah,
good girl,
yeah.
other things were kind of preoccupying people, crime, all those kind of things were big, and superheroes were kind of on the wane, like they were just not really not popular. This book was, you know after all the shakeup of the code coming into play, and also kind of like them retelling the superhero story and actually giving them a full arc and, like, like a continuous series of stories. So this is a huge book in terms of history. Like, I mean, this was, and it's a hard book to find, but this is such a hard book to find. So
Okay,
great
let's
book.
see, let's see how it did. 4.8 for a 1.5 sounds like a lot of money for a ropey looking comic.
Yeah, actually, it's a pretty good presenting 1.5.
Unfortunately, it's the only ever CGC restored 1.5, so we can't really judge. Let's have a look.
Well, yeah, so let's look at the
Look at the rest
unrestored.
restored. Well, let's have a look at restored.
So I would say usually 80%, that it should go for about 80% of the restored, like of the blue label,
I mean, there
if
are.
that makes sense.
All right, so let's go to the unrestored.
So I would expect the blue one to go for around 6
It goes
based on.
8.
So this one was a bit of a, so was 7,000 something.
8. 7-8 for unrestored.
So
4-8 sounds like a good deal. I
so
thought,
somebody got a good deal on that 1 and 1.5, that
yeah,
restored
because
1.5.
I thought at lower grades restored made less difference.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying maybe it's about 80%, because 80 to 90 even, because it's, what difference does it make at that point?
Yeah,
If you removed all the restoration or did whatever to it, it's probably going to grade out at the same grade, you know.
exactly.
Um, yeah, that's why it really doesn't make much difference. But usually it's about 20% at this grade point. Um, so yeah, I'm
Yeah,
surprised that,
this is near
but
40%. Yeah.
yeah, that's somebody got a steal on this one.
Okay.
But if you look at on the eBay listing, there's a 0.5 right there, and
Yeah.
they want 5,000 for that.
Well, they're living in cloud cuckoo land.
But okay, let's look just quickly on the sales history. What does a 0.5 go for? And the reason I go kind of want to look at a 0.5 in comparison to this 1.5 is to really show the value of restored books. I really think you can get some really great.
Somebody paid $6,000 for a what?
That's what I'm saying. So which would you, okay,
I
like
mean, that was COVID.
yeah, but still, my point is, like, which would you rather? A 1.5
For four
that
eight
looks,
or 0.5 for 7,000. I'll go for the 1.5 for 4.8. Thanks.
yeah, exactly. And it, like, probably if you look at that book, like, let's look at that 0.5. What is it? Like, what's wrong with it?
It's horrible.
It's horrible. Well, other than the fact that it's horrible, like, what's
I mean,
missing?
look
It's
at it.
probably
What's right with it? I mean, it's crinkled. It's probably got.
it's
I mean,
it's probably got a ton of pages missing.
yeah.
What's going on?
Let's have a look. Can I get this? Yeah. It hasn't got a back cover.
Okay.
It's got tape on it. You know, tape doesn't count as restoration, so it's allowed tape.
Yeah, it's allowed the tape. So yeah, so you could get a complete book with probably some color touch or something going on to it.
Yeah, it's got tape all down the spine.
I mean, the 1.5 looked way better than this. So I don't know. I always think that that's interesting that, people will, you know, sometimes just ignore like the value
Somebody
you
paid
can.
for one without a cover on it. Oh, half the cover's gone. That's
That's the cover. That's
yeah, yeah,
what's it called?
turn.
Return cover. Yeah. Remainder. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, so I don't know. I always thought that was weird. Uh again, I'm on this, like, soapbox for restored books, that you can really get some good value out of restored. Um Actually, this sale actually makes more sense that it was low for a restored book because it's heritage. I noticed that heritage restored books generally will sell under the fair market value for restored books,
All
because
right.
it's a different type of collector on heritage. They're a little snobbier, like, they don't like restored books. So generally you can get a bit of a deal with the restored books. Like, that's how I picked up my Fantastic Four #1. It's restored, and I got it for basically half what it should have sold for. So yeah, just a cool little point. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, and just for my UK viewers, let me translate. So half in English is half.
Am am I mispronouncing my words for you? I don't know. Like I think the problem is like in the UK, they play cricket too much. And when you play cricket, the ball can hit your head or the bat or what the wiki or whatever it's called. And that could have an impact
Yeah.
on the way you pronounce words.
Right,
So
fair enough. Well, enough mutual cultural bashing. So that is it for this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We will be back next week to talk about comics and other stuff. So see you then.
bye.